Welcome to Strategies for Teaching in a Hybrid Environment. This presentation is being brought to you by the Technology Training Team, also known as T3. For all of our training and support resources, please visit our T3 website at bit.ly/T3PGCPS, and also follow us on Twitter at T3PGCPS. Before we get started, we want to check in with you. How are you feeling today? Are you in a good place? Are you feeling in between, or are you feeling overwhelmed? If you're feeling a bit overwhelmed, the goal of this presentation is to help ease any anxiety you may be feeling with the various information and resources we're going to share with you today. The objectives for today's session are identifying models when planning for instruction, discuss strategies for engagement, collaboration, differentiation, and demonstration of learning, and share ideas with other Prince George's County Public School educators. You may hear strategies today that you're already using or something that may be new that you want to try. As you hear the strategies presented, think about what you're already doing that's working well in your classroom. And if there are any adjustments or new ideas that you will implement during hybrid. During our Preparing Your Classroom from Hybrid Instruction, we learned about 3 models for instruction provided by academics. Let's review those models again. Model 1. In Model 1, all students are joining your lesson via Zoom or Google Meet. We have an academics resource that we're modeling for you so you can see what each of the models look like. In Model 2, in-person students see the teacher's lesson on the display in the classroom, while the virtual students are connected through Zoom or Google Meet. The in-person students could be using approved materials such as a textbook. The teacher could read a book to both groups of students or conduct an experiment that allows virtual students to participate online while those in class use materials provided. In Model 3, in-person students work with the teacher while virtual students complete an activity, then they alternate. This model can grow into a station rotation if another station is added, such as a collaborative learning station. These models are intended to give ideas about what instruction could look like during the course of a lesson. As we explore different strategies, think about how you will deliver the lesson to your students in person as well as your virtual students.
Keeping students engaged will be very important in a hybrid environment. We want to ensure that all students, whether in person or virtual, feel connected to the classroom. During virtual learning, you probably used various strategies to keep your students engaged with learning. Continue to use the activities that worked for you and your learners, and consider any adjustments that may be needed as you move to hybrid. Remember, if you focus on how you will engage your virtual learners, it will be easier to make modifications for the in-person students. As you think about how you will engage your learners, we're going to review some suggested activities that you may want to include in your instruction. Checking in with students is going to be very important as we're moving forward. Consider starting the day with a check-in for both the in-person and virtual students to see how they're feeling. There are various ways to check in or connect with students. SEL checks can be done using a Google form, a Jamboard, or a Peer Deck template. Nearpod also has short activities and videos from Calm that help you to introduce the basics of being mindful and mindfulness. These activities could be used throughout the day with your students. You simply need to add them to your library and use them. Also, plan time to connect with your students by having individual or small group conferences, or possibly even setting aside time for a lunch bunch to see how your students are feeling or to learn about their interests. Connecting with students will be especially important to our students that are virtual all the time to help them feel connected to the class and to you as the teacher.
As you're planning for student interactions, then you want to make sure that your lessons are interactive. As you're planning your lessons, think about how you will build prior knowledge, elicit classroom responses, or check for understanding. Now, when it comes to these classroom responses, think about how you want virtual and in-person students to respond to questions. In addition to answering questions verbally, you may want polling, reactions, or chat for student responses. If everyone is not in Zoom or Meet, consider having an in-person student volunteer to monitor if there are questions from the virtual students. When you are brainstorming activities, you may consider using a Jamboard, Google Doc, or a Nearpod Collaborate board. This will allow the in-person and virtual students to work on the same document. Whichever method you choose, just be sure to be consistent so that students understand the expectations. When you're checking for understanding, then tools like Pear Deck, Nearpod, and Smart Learning Suite allow you to add interactivity to your lessons and check for understanding by incorporating videos, questions, games, and more. Continue to use the same tools you introduced to students during virtual learning. Families will definitely appreciate that consistency. Now, when we're looking at game-based learning, with these strategies, students again learn by playing games, which helps them to stay engaged and helps to make learning stick. Look into Nearpod's game Time to Climb, which is a fan favorite of all ages. Younger students may need some assistance while playing. Also, look into Smart Learning Suite's games such as Monster Quiz. Students of all ages, including ECCs, may enjoy picture-based games such as Match 'em Up and Memory Match. These games can be played by in-person and virtual students alike. Now contrast that with gamification. Gamification means using game elements as part of your classroom environment and is another great strategy to make learning fun and effective. Two that we suggest are the badge tracker, where students can earn badges for achieving certain goals, as you can see there on the screen, as well as a leaderboard, where students climb the ranks for their accomplishments. Consider allowing students to pick a secret nickname if you are sharing the leaderboard with the entire class. In terms of planning for student interactions, you may also want to consider chunking the learning into smaller groups. Catlin Tucker shows this station rotation model that you see on the screen, which allows the teacher to work with a small group of students while the other students are doing asynchronous or independent work. Depending on the lesson, this strategy may help when you need to focus your attention on a smaller group for instruction. You may want to work with your virtual students as a small group and then switch to your in-person students. We have provided a template that can be used with students to provide directions for what is happening during each rotation.
Now, let's consider collaboration. Collaboration is an important part of the learning experience. So, when planning your instruction, be intentional with opportunities for all students to collaborate with each other and in multiple ways. What opportunities can you create for students to collaborate? Could this be through your assignments, discussions, group work, or projects? And what opportunities will students in person have to collaborate with students that are virtual? How can you adjust in-person strategies to work for hybrid instruction? Turn in talks using breakout rooms or randomized groups? How about assigning group roles, mixing the roles so that each group is a blend of in-person and virtual students? What tools can help you and students have effective collaboration? Think about the use of G Suite apps, Hapara Focus Sessions, Kami, Pear Deck, and Nearpod. One strategy for collaboration is a jigsaw opportunity where you chunk the lesson and allow students to work in 4 to 5 sections. Each group of students could be assigned to investigate or complete one section of the work, and all groups come back together as a whole class at the end to report to other groups. Create groups that include a mix of in-person and virtual students. Put groups into breakout rooms for their individual work time, and if desired, assign roles such as a note taker, reporter, timekeeper, etc. After designated times, reporters for each group should share out to the whole class via Zoom or Meet. Students can take notes on content individually as it is presented. We've included a resource for using the jigsaw strategy in your classroom on this slide. Another strategy to consider is project-based learning. Project-based learning is a strategy that allows students to work both collaboratively and independently to complete a multi-step project over time. As students complete different elements of the project, they can have different opportunities to collaborate based on the way you structure the project for them. Let's look at the basic steps to consider when using project-based learning with students. Brainstorm authentic projects, standards-based projects and tasks that are founded in your curriculum, rich with content, and have a specific purpose. This is a great time to include students in choosing topics and/or project ideas. Plan with the end in mind. Begin with what you want students to do or produce at the end of the project and work backwards. Determine project roles and expectations for your group. What roles will students have in the project? Will each student contribute to each portion, or will it be more of a jigsaw style? Benchmark your project. Determine check-in points and submission of work points along the way. Build project rubrics. Create an overall project rubric that includes elements along the way. It includes different levels or domains, for example, Bloom's taxonomy, and be specific in your rubric criteria. Plan for formative assessments. Once the project is complete, which elements of the project indicate mastery of the standards provided in your curriculum and content? Create student-facing rubrics if needed. Younger students may need simplified versions of the rubric or rubrics to help them with self-assessment. Plan daily and weekly lessons using a project calendar. Include specific times for project work, both independent and with groups, as well as a time to meet with you as the instructor.
Let's take a look at differentiation. Think about how we can meet the individualized needs of all students and how to consider designing activities to personalize learning for students. Let's take a look at some strategies. There are many ways to differentiate your lesson. Use video. Creating or finding appropriate videos for important teaching concepts for students to review can help students revisit concepts. This is a very useful strategy when using flipped learning design. Assign in classroom. Differentiate your work by assigning work to individual or small groups of students in Google Classroom. Let's take a look in Google Classroom. Select your class and select classwork at the top. Select Create to create a new assignment. And on the right side, you'll see an option that says All Students. Instead, you can uncheck All Students and select specific students you want to assign an assignment. Be sure to help you organize the assignments you're assigning to specific groups. You can include a naming convention in the title. For example, the 3 students that you selected could be your Bluebirds group, so include that in your title. Student choice. Give students choice on how to access or demonstrate learning. Provide students with choice in activities. Spark creativity and tap into the students' interests by allowing them to have some choice in the activities they complete. Choice boards, also sometimes called choice menus or tic-tac boards, can be an effective way to differentiate for students and motivate them through choice. Take a moment to view some of the different types of choice boards. Here are some sample choice boards you can use with your students. We have some sample choices for a novel study, math review, self-portrait, primary Nearpod self-paced board, right day for up, and we have additional templates that you can start using with your students. Demonstration of learning. Let's take a look at some strategies to help you check for understanding of concepts and provide ways for students to show demonstration of learning. With formative assessments, it is a great way to have auto-graded assessments, include multiple choice and open answer type of assessments. This is also a great way to give instant feedback to your students and help guide instruction. Here are some tools you can use for formative type of assessments. There are Google Forms, Nearpod, Pear Deck, Edpuzzle, Smart Learning Suite Online. Also try to have student-centered activities. Instead of creating standard multiple choice assessments, have students create to demonstrate their understanding with multimedia. Use audio or video recordings or tools that include drawing, typing, highlighting, and annotating, such as G Suite apps and Adobe Spark. Cooperative learning. Have students work together to complete a task to show their understanding. Use tools that allow collaboration, like the G Suite apps, Kami, Smart Learning Suite Online, and Padlet. Lastly, student signals. For quick exit tickets or quick review of student understanding, ask simple questions for students to quickly respond. Have them give a signal using thumbs up or down, turn their camera on or off, nonverbal feedback, or a quick poll survey.
Some additional tips for planning. Consistency and structure will be key for success. It will allow for the ease of planning and help students manage new routines. When you think about providing directions to your students, it's best to provide the directions both verbally and in Google Classroom to ensure that everyone has the correct information. And then think about organizing your classroom. Take a look at your Google Classroom and decide if any adjustments are needed to help students easily find the work you assign them. You may want to use the topics feature in Classroom to help you organize. Lastly, always remember to leave time at the end of each lesson to plan to prepare time for transitions. This will be very important for you as the educator as well as your students to transition from one topic to the next. Remember, you are the most invaluable resource in this process because you are learning from your experiences every day and collaborating with other educators all the time. Revisit our T3 website for additional ideas from your colleagues. As new ideas are shared with us from teachers, engagement and technology, lead teachers, and professional development lead teachers, we will add some of those ideas to this page. So revisit often for new ideas for how to implement hybrid and how to use the various strategies that we mentioned in this presentation. Here is some additional information that will support you during hybrid. We have included a presentation about how to care for devices at home and at school. Also on our website, we have listed our technology FAQs. This is a page that you'll want to revisit often for the latest information. As we receive new questions, we'll post our information here on our technology FAQ site. Also remember that there are always people to support you during this time. Talk to your engagement and technology lead or your professional development lead for ideas on using technology to support hybrid. For additional ideas, you can always look on our website or contact your T3 representative. This page displays all the resources referenced within our presentation and the templates that you can use with your students. During this presentation, we have given you general ideas about engagement, collaboration, differentiation, and demonstration of learning. Think about what is already working for your classroom and how you might adjust it for hybrid instruction. We know that you as educators will make the best decisions for your learners. We thank you for watching this recording, and we are always here to support you in this journey. This has been another production of the Technology Training Team. Thank you for joining us.